Hello, everybody, to another episode of Half a Clue Movie Review. On today's episode, we are talking about
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
My name is Philip, and I'm your host today, followed with our other host.
I am Ron. I was sipping my coffee right in the middle of the intro. I shouldn't have done that. I should know that by now.
But in a different alternate universe, maybe he wouldn't have done that. Maybe he would have bathed in the coffee, or maybe he would have thrown coffee at me. Maybe he would have been the coffee drinking a human version of him in that cup.
Or another dimension, there's Jameson in this.
Yeah.
And I'm a much sadder person.
Oh, gosh, that'd be great. Can you imagine Jameson is like, we were in a universe where alcohol is alcohol is water, and we're just constantly drinking it, but we don't die from it, but we can't get drunk.
So basically like the robots from Futurama, where they need it for substance, they have to drink alcohol. And it's
is that the best possible future, or is it the most depressing future?
That seems, I don't know, that doesn't sound appealing, because then it's essentially just water, right?
Right. Well, I mean, you still feel the drunk effects, but you just don't die.
Oh, so you do feel drunk.
Yeah.
And you have to drink it.
Yeah.
You're saying.
Yeah. But you don't die, though.
Oh.
Yeah. You don't. The alcoholism is not a thing.
Okay. So it's like weed, I guess.
Yeah, I guess
it's
pretty
like
much
the equivalent of weed,
Pretty
where
much.
you can get so drunk that you just kind of become like a mess.
Yeah.
And you just sink into your couch, and there's PSAs of like a drunk person just sitting on their couch, and they're just like, all he does is drink whiskey all day and sit on the couch. It's so sad.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
Anyway,
it's like we established it's actually the best possible future for mankind.
Speaking of turning water into alcohol, Doctor Strange does this in this film, which was pretty funny.
Which was really cool. Okay, so Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness is a sequel to the 2016 Doctor Strange film, directed by Scott Derrickson, written by C. Robert Cargill. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. And I just coughed. There was a parasite in my mouth. And this film follows after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home and Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame. Doctor Strange, at the height of his powers, no longer Sorcerer Supreme because of a technical error, because of the blip. And Wong is Sorcerer Supreme. He is suddenly interrupted by constant dreams of his other multiversal selves. And he is introduced to a girl America Chavez, who could teleport to other dimensions uncontrollably. And there is a mysterious force following her, and he doesn't know what. This film, first, before we even get into it, what were your thoughts on Doctor Strange's first solo film and his appearances in Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, and Spider-Man No Way Home? Or even Thor Ragnarok?
Doctor Strange is kind of quickly became one of my favorite characters. I knew a little bit about him beforehand, but honestly, I'd be lying to say that I wasn't super familiar with the character until the first movie. After the first movie came out, I bought the Doctor Strange comic books and everything that was kind of running in tandem, because Marvel loves to they love to do that. They're like, oh, let's make this new Doctor Strange comic come out, and he's a little bit more witty whatever. But yeah, no, I got that one, the Death of Magic line, which is great, and we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, no, I've loved pretty much all of his appearances so far, from the first movie to when he went to Ragnarok to the Infinity War, and Endgame, and then Spider-Man. He's just been a highlight in the MCU for me. He's always flashy and fun and interesting, and every time he shows up, it means some shit's going down.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
It's his ironically, I really like the Doctor Strange 2016 film.
Yeah,
I know some people say it is a carbon copy of narratively, the structure wise, of Iron Man, in terms of arc, but I appreciate it in the sense that it was a good introduction to that character and a gateway drug to the magical side of the Marvel universe.
Yes, that's what I loved about it most, is that it kind of blew the doors wide open on this whole new level of the MCU that we just were not aware of, which was so cool. Basically what Guardians did for space, this did for magic, and I was I loved it, because I couldn't wait for the MCU to get weird.
Yeah,
and
and with this film, we'll get that a bit. And also his appearances, especially Infinity War, his part with Thanos was my favorite part of the film visually.
Yeah,
Yeah, and just like
yeah, it's up there for yeah.
all the different tricks that he did, turning Thanos's gauntlet things into like butterflies.
Yeah, he shoots a black hole at him. He punches a black hole at him.
Yeah,
because it's like, I mean, it's such a great exchange. He's like shoots lightning bolts, and then he tries to throw him into the mirror dimension. Thanos punches through the mirror dimension, shattering reality, and then punches a black hole at Doctor Strange, who then transmorphs it into a bunch of butterflies. Like,
yeah,
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Now, okay, a question. This is a total off topic, but do you think Doctor Strange in this film at his power levels after the Darkhold, how would he have fared against Thanos if it was a rematch?
With the Darkhold,
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's like, I guess it's a I mean, well, I guess if you just go by what happened with Wanda and how she like powered up so much, I think it'd probably be closer. Because even with like the fight, it was like such a great back and forth. Ultimately it wasn't even that close because he never even landed a hit.
Yeah.
On
Also, he
Thanos.
didn't even use the time stone.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's another thing.
But he did go toe to toe. He was one of the few characters who was actually able to like go to toe with him when he had, I think, three of the different Infinity Stones. So
Yeah. Oh no, he had I think. Oh yeah, 3 without a time stone and stuff like that.
yeah, he had the power, space, and soul gems, and he just was missing the time.
And
oh no, he had the reality gem as well. Sorry.
yeah, time in mind. He didn't
Yeah.
have time in mind. Yeah.
So yeah, like I think that he would probably do better. So he had 4 stones, which is still crazy, but I don't know. I still think he probably would still lose. Unfortunately,
Thanos. Okay, now we go into our brief opening opinions. Let's kind of go into the development of this film, which was really fucking rocky.
Yeah.
And by the way, when they announced this film with Scott Derrickson first in there, I was like hyped. You and I we watched the video, like the Comic-Con. We were hyped as fuck.
It was my most anticipated like Marvel film that was coming up in the new phase. I was like, I really liked the first Doctor Strange. I didn't love it, but I really liked it. This one's leaning more into the horror elements, which is what Scott Derrickson was known for.
Yes.
And I was all for it. And the fact that, they're like, hinting at like, like Lovecrafty and stuff, like Multiverse Madness. And like, it's supposed to be the introduction of the multiverse. There's a lot of stuff that was going for it that I was like super hyped for.
And then we got the news, the big bomb drop that Scott Derrickson left.
Sad.
Due to creative differences. And he even had cryptic dates where it's like, release dates are the death of creativity. And also just I'm guessing like now knowing like him spilling more tea is he had a way different direction of what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
So let's just go into this bit. So originally they were gonna bring back the same writer and director, C. Robert Cargill, who's his freaking collaborator. He wanted to use the villain Nightmare for the second film.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And that was like that would have been dope. That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
He wanted to expand upon the characters from the first film, so make it like an actual proper sequel. With Jonathan Pangborn, Hamir, like the Asian dude with one arm. You remember the first film? Like he assumed that he was a Sorcerer Supreme. It's like, oh hey.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
So Hamir and Baron Mordo, like the MCU's Baron Mordo. Like he probably would also have an expanded role and stuff. And also he wanted to introduce Clay in the sequel, but not just as a cameo, but as like a central figure, right? Like he's moved on from Christine Palmer and Clay as this new person, and they're working together in tandem with whatever's happening. But suddenly they were like, okay, you got to include Wanda, and they said you got to make it more, into the MCU-ish and stuff like that, less of a standalone type of film.
Mm-hmm.
And we have all these plans that we want to do with this film and how it's going to integrate to the other films. And we're going to have like, more cameos from other multiversal stuff. So that probably created a lot of friction with him. Same thing with Edgar Wright. Like he didn't want to include Falcon or all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the big trade-off you get with the MCU, unfortunately.
You have to acquiesce. So, and also on top of that, in between Doctor Strange 2016 and this, he helped develop and directed some episodes for Lock and Key and Snowpiercer, which I'm surprised the Snowpiercer TV series is as successful as it is on its 3rd fucking season, renewed for the 4th.
Yeah, when I first heard it was coming out, I was like, oh, that sucks.
But now there's a huge fan base for some reason. And also he also helped successfully develop the Lock and Key show for Netflix.
Wow.
So he just been building more and more directorial clout and shit like that. So he probably like the first film he probably, you know, he was still he made Sinister and like, you know,
Yeah.
what was the other film, The Purge? Or no, was that that wasn't him, was it?
No,
that wasn't him. I assume because Ethan Hawke, but no, that wasn't him. But he did Sinister and he did Exorcism of Emily Rose, right?
yeah.
So he had some like horror clout, but now he just like, you know, he had a lot more like swinging weight behind him, so he probably felt a little bit more pushy.
Yeah.
But you know, when push came to shove, and also he, you know, I've heard reports that he wanted to make this like a very scary MCU film, pushing the PG-13.
Yes. Like
And
I think he wanted R, was it?
Yeah, he like gave into the R thing,
Mm-hmm.
but like he was gonna use, like he said, he was a big fan of A24's film The Witch and Hereditary.
Oh,
So he wanted to use some of those shadow things, or you know how like there was like the foreground background element in that film.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to use some of that,
I would have loved to see that.
but unfortunately, he just like when they were just like kind of turning him down on every single one of those horror ideas.
Yeah.
He just he had an opportunity to make The Black Phone, which I'm very excited for that film.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what, fine. Like I was very disappointed. Like when I heard that he left and it was because of creative differences and all of the usual Marvel stuff, I was like really bummed and my expectations plummeted for this film. Honestly, I was like, great, it's gonna be a mess.
Yeah, I mean, well,
And it kind of is.
It kind of is, but it's a beautiful mess.
Yeah, it's kind of this thing that like maybe shouldn't work, but it kind of does. Yeah.
So he's so he went on to The Black Phone with the same writer, and instead at the last
Ethan Hawke.
and Ethan Hawke, yeah. And at the last minute, Sam Raimi and Michael Waldron, who did the Loki series and stuff like that, who probably was exhausted from making the Loki series.
I'm sure.
Yeah, he was just like, okay, how do you feel like, okay, we got to hit the production date. You guys got to start writing right away and developing shot list, production design, everything. And you could tell because this film was like shot 99% on the green screen. So they were brought in and they had to work nonstop and they didn't push the production date at all. Even with COVID, they still shot. I mean, production was extended, but they still shot with like the same, like very little pre-production time.
Crazy.
And
It shows.
yeah. So knowing all this, and we kind of briefly touched upon this, how do you think Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, watching it with the lower expectations, with change of directors, change of writers, very sped up production time, how did it fare for you watching it?
Honestly, I had like such a good time watching this movie.
Yeah.
Like my expectations were very low, so maybe that had something to do with it. Like if I had known any of this and I just walked into it just expecting it to just be like, you know, great, maybe I wouldn't have been as like, you know, excited, but like it's just like it's such a fun ride. And that's really what it felt like for me. And I know Scorsese says that that's like the death of cinema or whatever, but it's like really though.
It's okay to have some roller coaster films.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, sometimes that's fine. Yeah, like would I like a more deeper, insightful kind of like, you know, art house kind of horror film version of Doctor Strange? Absolutely. But also, I'm also really good with a fun, satisfying, and like, you know, just exciting, weird kind of horror-esque version of a Doctor Strange film that kind of just, again, it somehow manages to expand the you know, the MCU much further, but not in just the sense of like, oh look, here's Mr. Fantastic and here's Professor Xavier. That's cool, fine, I'm fine with that introducing in there. Really, that's like thumbs up. Also the Inhumans, which no one seems to be talking about, but I know, like, that's a weird thing. But like that's cool. But really though, I just wanted this film to be like fun and just have a good time, and I really did, and that's satisfying for me. That sounds is good enough, and you know, and then it went on to exceed my expectations, and it really, I think, it would not have been anywhere as good if it was not for Sam Raimi taking the reins, making this movie his own, and really just having fun with it. Yeah. And it's when Sam Raimi's having fun, you're having fun, so it's good.
Yeah. I was not dreading, but I was really worried. And I also heard, and a lot of my friends told me who watched it beforehand, like it kind of came being true, but I think I enjoyed it much more than they did.
Yeah.
And then I was a little very worried watching this film because of the production mess and stuff like that. But watching it, I think you and I we're sitting right next to each other. I was like, ooh, like,
Yeah.
like it might be cheap, but it worked. It worked.
And it's bumpy for sure because there was
like a roller coaster.
Yeah, there was more than a few times where I was like, I don't know about this, or I don't know if I like that, or like, this doesn't feel like great. But then by the time I'm like worried about that, there's like 3 other things that are happening, and it's like, and it just this film is a train. Like it's just powering through
at
so
a brisk
much.
2 hour and 5 minutes, which is crazy.
Which is it's pretty crazy. Like this film, it shows again that it's not totally great at hiding all of its like, you know, scars. Yeah. There's definitely a bunch of issues with it and some very little cuts that are pretty visible where I'm like they definitely truncated that scene for whatever reason. Yes. Like, which is too bad. Like, I actually think I would have enjoyed it maybe a little bit more if there was more to it, just to kind of flesh some stuff out and just let the movie breathe a little bit. But at the same time, that momentum, it kind of like, it works in its favor because you're just speed running all this stuff that's happening. And I just can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to watch it again, honestly.
Yeah. I think this film benefits from the theater experience too, right? Like if you're watching it at home where you can pause and you kind of contemplate like, oh, that doesn't work. Yeah. But then in the theater, you have no time to process the flaws. Yeah. It's just like, as you're saying, being steamrolled into the next, weird, crazy things. I love this film. I mean, they did kind of like make true on that. It is definitely this more onto the horror influences than any other MCU films.
For sure.
Yeah. And they brought definitely Sam Raimi, who knew how to play ball, as we know with Spider-Man 3 and Oz.
Yeah.
Like,
oh God, no, this not, I mean, come on. You don't have to bring those up.
But like I said, that's not his fault. But I'm saying like somehow even with like those hamstrings handcuffed against his back, he still made like the best he could, right? They're still like, I still watch them. I'm entertained. Yeah, with Sam Raimi-ishness.
And to be fair, the hate for Spider-Man 3 has really waned in recent years. Yeah, honestly, like I've heard, that was probably one of the most hated films when it came out. But even then, there was still some some people who liked it. But in recent memory, I've heard a lot of people that have revisited it since, and then they're like, it's not really as bad as you think it is. And it's like, yeah, that's fair, I guess. But Oz still was terrible. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sam.
Sam got hamstrung with everything. I feel bad for Sam. I think that's why, because like from 2013 to this film 2022, he had a huge 9-year break of directing films. He was just producing shit. He was probably burnt out from like not being able to do what he wants. Yeah. Ironically, he chose the MCU. Right. But I feel like they gave him a little bit more creative freedom, at least with the camera direction and his humor and stuff like that.
That's what shocked me, honestly. I was totally expecting like Sam to just play like the studio director, part of just coming in and just being like, all right, yeah, sure, and just kind of they slap his name on it and just be like, yeah, this is a Sam Raimi film, but like not really. And to an extent, it's not obviously to its full
potential
purpose. Yeah, like they could go a lot crazier. But I was shocked at just the camera work alone, the lighting, the color grading, the action sequences all felt very reminiscent of
like his Evil Dead films, his Spider-Man films.
Yeah, and I haven't seen Darkman yet. Sorry, Jeremy.
But I'm sure okay.
No, but I'm sure there's some of that in there too. Let us know, Jeremy.
Oh my gosh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I will have to exercise you after this. But no, I did really like it. Like just like I was like I mean, you saw my reaction when they did a POV shot and you sound on it. And I was just like, as a huge Evil Dead fan, Evil Dead nut, I was like, oh my gosh, they're doing it. And then the way the pictures, like Wanda's pictures, were like eyeballing or moving, and stuff like, and that's like totally straight out of like Evil Dead 2 and stuff like that. But also, even with the Bruce Campbell, which I won't go too much into it because we're going to say that for later, but like him being punched by his own hand, that's straight up like Evil Dead 2. Yeah. Like it's like Bruce Campbell fighting against his own hand.
The weird, the ghost things, like the spirits that are like guarding him. Like you broke the strain. Like I was like, Doctor Strange or whatever. Like it's great.
It's like, I want to see the behind the scenes of Sam Raimi actually voicing the ghost.
I'm sure he did. I would be surprised if he didn't, honestly.
Yeah. This it was great. So that just made me so happy, and I was enjoying it so much. And also the fact that they did not hold back on the gruesome, like as gruesome you could get with PG-13, the deaths.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. Like
Illuminati. Let's just get into that.
Really quick, we're gonna do Moon Knight review as well. But like Kevin Feige was like, "Oh, we really pushed the boundaries of what could be PG-13 in that one," and it's like,
Not really.
no, you didn't.
You didn't.
No, you didn't. Like at first, I was a little bit excited, like, "Oh, but this actually it is a little kidding, kind of violent," but no, sorry. But this one, again, completely shocked to me. The Illuminati shows up in this film, and now that's a whole discussion on its own. But we get introduced to this universe's version of Dr. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic,
Played by John Krasinski.
John Mother effing Krasinski, who I'll be honest, I kind of went against the fan consensus that seems to be that he was like the perfect Mr. Fantastic. I was like, I think he'd be okay. I didn't really want him. I was hoping they'd go with the more inspired choice. Yeah. But whatever. It's fine. Whatever. He's apparently Mr. Fantastic. Yay. And then
if we ever, I think we probably will, maybe like eventually. I've only seen bits and pieces of Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the other reasons why, besides his directing on Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Apparently his Jack Ryan character, and from what I've seen, I could see what they're going for, is very much like a Mr. Fantastic type person.
Mm-hmm.
We're very intelligent, always going like plotting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And apparently he does that really well in that film. So
yeah, is Mr. Fantastic. He's kind of a dick. Like that's his thing. Like he doesn't know how to stop. Like again, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before. People probably know it, but it's like Rick from Rick and Morty is loosely based off of Reed Richards.
Yeah,
as in the fact that he's like the smartest person in like the multiverse, pretty much. And he kind of just, that's a burden that he carries with him. And like, even more so than like, you think Tony's smart. He's like nothing really compared to Reed. You think like the only person who could like possibly stack up to him is like, I don't know, probably his kids. And then like maybe Dr. Doom or, there's other people.
Which
too, but
Baxter. Oh,
yeah. So I was geeking out too. Like, I'm not going to lie. I got super excited when she was like, oh, I worked for the Baxter organization. I was like, what? Baxter? Because I did not know that Mr. Fantastic was in this movie, so I was very excited that when they introduced him, I was like, yes, the Fantastic Four. Awesome. Anyway, whatever. We'll move past that. We're going to talk about that all day. And then they get, Monica Rambeau, right?
Yeah. Maria Rambeau.
Yeah. Sorry.
The mom.
Her Monica's mom.
Yeah.
From the first Captain Marvel.
Like Lashana Lynch.
Yeah.
Who's great in No Time to Die.
Yeah. Good. Good
cool. Actress.
Yeah.
I mean, wasted in this film, but
yeah. Yeah, for real.
Literally. It's like you see the GTA like wasted. After what happened to her.
And also, I'm just going to explain to them and then also explain how they die. So yeah, Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, played by John Krasinski, gets spaghettied.
Oh, I know. I
and
love that.
You see his head pop, which was awesome.
Awesome. I even love that she's like, is like, do you have kids? And do you have a mother? And he's like, yes. Good. Like, there's someone to take care of them after you're gone. And
yeah.
I was like, woo! That was Steve Cold Austin. I'm saying it wrong. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like level of shit. I was like, wow, holy shit. Oh, that was great.
Then we get Rambeau, Captain
Maria
Marvel,
Rambeau. Yeah.
Maria Rambeau, who gets crushed by a statue of somebody.
I think it's her own statue. Actually.
Is that her statue?
Yeah.
She has a statue of herself. Oh, yeah, super egotistical. What is this? The Justice League? What is this? The Hall of Justice?
Well, I mean, correct us if we're wrong. If it's not her statue, but I think that was the whole point. Right? It was her own statue after absorbing. Like she absorbs Captain Marvel's powers.
Yeah. Awesome. And then there's
Captain Carter.
Yeah, Captain Carter. Who if you watch the What If series, they kind of explain that, and that was a cool one. I think that's interesting. I always thought it was really stupid that they didn't call her Captain Britain.
Yeah.
Like Captain Britain is a character that exists. I understand that it's its own completely different thing, but like, why would she not just call herself Captain Britain? It's so stupid. Why would she be like, I'm Captain Carter? Like, what?
Captain Rogers sounds lame too. So like, yeah, he did call himself Captain America. Why wouldn't I just?
Well, they branded him as Captain America, but at the same time, why wouldn't Britain just brand her as Captain? Britain, whatever. Anyway, so then there's Captain.
She got sliced in half.
She gets ripped in half by her own shield. Great. I thought it was hilarious though when like they kind of killed Black Bolt and like Mr. Fantastic.
Say Black Bolt. Yeah, how he died.
Black Bolt has the best death, which is like, Black Bolt, as they show, he has an extremely powerful voice that is able to like destroy moons and like planets in some cases, whatever. It's stupid powerful. So she just reality warps his mouth to no longer exist. So then his slight like or whatever just bounces, I guess, reverberates inside of his own head and blows up his brain.
Yeah, and his sludges. You see the sludge in his what's it called? His own outfit.
I think many people in the audience like audibly gasped because I was like, whoa, like I just did not expect that shit. I was like, oh, she's gonna kill him, or they're gonna do the usual MCU thing, or like he breaks his neck, or he's dead. Nope. His head pops.
Yeah. And you see the sludginess of his own head remains in his own costume.
Yeah.
And the blood coming out of his nose and his eyes. I was like, whoa, that's awesome.
That's so great. I love that. It's like, I mean, yeah, I'm not... Like, I swear I'm getting so giddy about seeing guys' head pop. But like just the fact that like Marvel had like, the cojones to like actually... Yes. Do that. It's like, thank you for actually stepping up a bit here. And then what is it, Professor Charles Xavier,
his third death,
everyone fucking knew was in this movie thanks to the stupid trailers, because they couldn't keep that a secret. Just keep a lid on it, god damn it. Like,
you know why hell? That was in the trailers?
Why?
Because like I think we told you Bob Iger left, or not, he's not, like, he basically retired, right? And we have the new like Bob Chapek, so he reorganized Disney, where it's no longer, the creatives are no longer in control of their own department.
God damn it.
So now it's like studio execs. So the marketing department, which Kevin Feige pre-Bob Chapek with Bob Iger was in control of the marketing. So that's why Avengers Endgame had like nothing in it.
They had fake trailers.
Exactly.
They had fake shots in Infinity War, which is what I loved.
Exactly.
And I was kind of hoping they would do that in this film too, where I was like, I see the trailers and I was like, I don't trust Marvel trailers because, they change it,
Yeah.
And I was hoping that would be the case,
But not in this one.
No. I mean, not that they were going to like undo Charles Xavier, because I mean, people would riot, but just not have him there in the first place. Because like, how awesome would it have been to be watching that movie? They show the Illuminati, they show Reed Richards, which would have been, again, very exciting. Be like, cool. And then have them be like, and Charles Xavier. And then he comes out like, what? Yeah. Like, that would have been so cool. But
as soon as we heard his voice, we were like in the first trailer, I was like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so he's in the film. Thank you for ruining that for me.
Yeah. Fucks. And then they show him they show the yellow TV wheelchair. Spot. It's like, I fucking cool, I guess. Even Wanda was spoiled as, I mean, we get to Wanda.
Villain. Yeah, with all the shit that she's doing in the trailer.
Yeah, which, again, thankfully, I missed a lot of those TV spots and trailers and stuff because I was avoiding them. But, like, the average person is just going to be like, yeah, I'll watch it. And then they're like, oh, Wanda's the bad guy. Okay. Like, I didn't, like, I had no idea, thankfully, that I didn't know that she was going to be the bad guy in this one,
but they spoiled the fuck out of it. Like, for most people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, so Kevin Feige, he publicly said there was too much in the trailers. I was in control of the marketing for this film. And you could tell he's very upset.
Good.
Yeah, he's very upset. I mean, there's rumors that Bob Chapek is on his way out, which I'm glad.
But damn, dude, that was a short run.
Yeah, because he really fucked it up. Let's just say that.
That's very interesting. That's got to be like the shortest run is like the
Disney CEO of recent. Yeah. It's like we appreciate Bob Iger once he left, but basically, yeah, he didn't have control of the marketing. Apparently, he would have like ideas for fake. And so
at Disneyland, bring money.
And like he didn't even want to have a like. That's what I remember. The poster, I was like, "Is that Captain Carter's shield?" And then we looked at it, and it is. And spoiled. Yeah,
and it's like, is that Captain Marvel in the trailer too? It's like, yeah, well, kinda. So again, expected. A lot of the stuff was expected. The only thing that the two things that I didn't know, and I'm so glad I didn't know, was
like Reed Richards,
and the fact that Wanda was the villain. Which, thank God, because that would have been so lame to have known that already. But.
Yeah. So I'm glad. So Kevin, hold on strong. Wait for the next guy to come in.
Yeah. You're going to be fine, dude. Yeah. They're going to put you in charge eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So like, question with Sam Raimi, and we talked about his direction, his cheese ball. I actually loved his cheese ball. And you know what? Big props to Michael Waldron, who immediately after Loki had to step up and do this and just like.
Yeah. No, for real. Yeah. I gave a lot of props to Sam, which he deserves. But also, yeah, definitely. Good job, Michael.
Yeah, he tried his best. And the fact that he never worked with Sam Raimi before, but adapted his writing style to fit some of Sam Raimi's cheese, but also satisfy the MCU overlords named Kevin Feige.
Yeah, when they did the snap zoom, they showed a snap zoom to something and then like interesting camera work. I was like, was like, I thought this was a Marvel movie.
Oh, so they don't do snap zooms. They usually do standard coverage.
They
right?
cut to like a reaction shot of people running and screaming, or like people in like terror and awe. I was like, what? This is great. I was like, this is awesome. I was eating it up just from the first moment when they showed like him fighting the Shimogorath in the streets.
Dude, that Shimogorath sequence, holy shit! Like I was so in, because remember, I think you and I both were like, when they just introduced, like when Doctor Strange did a spell and just got like demon dogs to eat some of the
I was like,
attacks.
that's awesome. Because again, that was my problem with the first one. I was like, all right, this is like, the Sorcerer Supreme, or I guess technically not Sorcerer Supreme anymore, but like, this is like one of the greatest magic authorities in the universe. And he's mostly just like shooting orange lightning.
Or shields.
Or shields or other stuff, which is okay. I mean, that was his first movie, so he wasn't like fully capable of it yet, but like, it's all right, whatever. Like, it's magic. Let have him do anything. He can do pretty much almost anything.
Yeah.
They really lived up to that. I mean, they did so, I think, really
Infinity
in Infinity War, yeah. But then they've stepped it up in each version. Even like in No Way Home, he was like doing basically the same stuff we'd seen him do before.
Right.
Mirror Dimension, which was a great looking sequence. Yeah, but we've seen the Mirror Dimension before, so I was like, you got to show me something new, especially with Doctor Strange. You got to really push the boundaries here, and they did. Again, he's like doing all kinds of different spells. Wong even got a big upgrade, which I was so happy to see. Like, he was
more warrior-like in this one.
Yes, he has like that chain whip thing that he was spinning around. He was summoning like these two dual blade things that he was fighting with, and he had his own personal style, which is great. I love to see that, because it's like, here's how Strange fights, here's how Wong fights. Here are how other sorcerers. I guess not yet. We'll see that eventually. Baron Mordo, I don't really know how he fights, because they just kind of had him there. But
because I was expecting Baron Mordo, like, it's him absorbing the sorcerer's energy from all these people. Like, his power level must have increased.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, to be fair, we didn't see that Baron Mordo.
No, we didn't. That's what I'm saying. I would be curious. Like, and
I would love to see Baron Mordo
from the MCU.
Yeah.
And she was Edgio 4. He played the assassin, the main fucking villain in Serenity, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, he's great.
He was almost a villain for Bond.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great actor all around. Everyone knows he's fantastic. I mean, he's pretty much great in everything he's in, except Lion King, I guess. But
yeah, that's not even his fault too.
No, I don't blame him.
They were just like, you could tell, like, they were just like, okay, speak like how you do and nothing else.
But yeah, anyway, that first opening sequence, it reminded me of like the Dr. Octopus fight in Spider-Man 2, which is great. It was like showing different angles. It was exciting. They're like breaking through stuff, and I don't know. There's just so much going on that I was just so excited about. That I was gushing. I was like, yes. I was like, this is gonna be fun, and it really sets the tone. Like, all right, so this is kind of what we're going for. Cool. And apparently, Sam Raimi is required to show a wedding with the redhead at some point.
Everything. Yeah. Oh yeah, because
superhero film.
She was. Wait, no, she wasn't. Was she? She was a redhead in the first film, right? Or she was?
I don't know. I think so. Yeah. I think she was.
But her redhead just seems more prominent.
It seems more. Well, that again goes back to Sam like properly color grading this movie, or whoever he brought on to do that, because it's beautiful. I saw an online comparison of people like, here's Doctor Strange in Infinity War, and it's like kind of all the toned down, flat, plain, lame ass looking colors. Which, to be fair, that movie does have great colors everywhere else, but the actual costumes look flat as hell, which always bugs me so much.
But this one is like, even with like, when we get into even like the sequence with Zombie Strange, like the blacks were so much more richer in this one, and then the whites were just so much more like, it just contrasted so well.
There's vibrant film, but still kept its like dark tones and like everything else. Like, you get the full spectrum of color and light and shadow. What a concept. I know. Like wow.
Even the musical sequence, which let's touch on that real quick. My favorite sequence in the fucking film, where you get which I found out that it's not Supreme, like everyone was saying Supreme, it's not Supreme Strange from the What If universe. And actually, I think about it, that wouldn't make sense, because if Supreme Strange was in this film, he would have wiped the floor clean with Wanda.
Yeah.
And this was Sinister Strange, apparently, officially in the credits.
Okay, yeah,
And he had purple magic.
yeah, which was cool. I also, yeah, sorry, I love that too. That like the opening Doctor Strange, he had like this kind of white magic.
Yeah.
This Doctor Strange, ours has like orange kind of colored magic, and then well, I guess is officially 616.
Yeah.
Which bugged me a little bit. It set off a little bell in my like nerd brain where I was like, I don't know, 616 is like the comic book universe.
But it's Kevin Feige's ego where he's
I
like,
know.
it has to be. My Marvel universe is the main one.
It's like, no, it's not, but okay, it's fine. Like, fine, we'll look it over, but it's fine anyway. And yes, he had the purple magic, which is awesome because I love that they showed that he's like tainted. It's like, again, my complaint for like the first one was that like everyone's magic was just that orange sparky color, which is like really
there's no variation.
Yeah, like everyone's just orange sparky colors. Like I guess now they've kind of established that's like the base level of of this universe, at least. Like if your base level's orange.
That's why I love like Strange had like the orange spark. Sinister Strange had purple. Wanda had red.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved even like the way she twisted when she got out of the mirror dimension.
Yes.
By breaking out into a mirror.
That whole sequence where she was using reflections and she was pulling people into the
it's fun
reflective surfaces, probably trapping and killing them in the mirror dimension. Awesome. It was creepy. The camera's whipping and sliding around and like, following her. You see her eyeball. And I was like, yes, like this is so fun. This is like an exciting action sequences. Each action sequence was very different from the other. And like we're saying, the musical sequence, probably the best, or at least the most visually interesting.
Yeah. It's just like he's using purple notes to attack Doctor Strange. Doctor uses orange notes, and he traps the notes, which are also blades, into like a musical bar.
Yeah. And then they shoot them back. They're shooting different kinds of compositions at each other. Like Strange is like shooting like classical music and stuff at him. And then Doctor Strange is combating it with like what sounds like the Night on Bald Mountain or something. I'm trying to think of it. It's like the nightmare sequence from like, Fantasia.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, no, it's like a
little. It was with Phantom of the Opera too, right?
No.
Did he include some Phantom of the Opera like?
He might have, but I think it was a Night on Bald Mountain or something, which is like it's a little different. I don't remember how it goes exactly, but I'm
But basically like different compositions.
But yes, the point is like it's a darker, more sinister composition versus like a lighter one, and it's like that's just so fun. And yeah, let's talk about another man of the hour, and that's Danny Elfman,
man, who I think his score was great.
Yeah,
but I don't know if his score was used perfectly in this film by the production team. Yeah. But I loved his version. I mean, I know I did like Michael Giacchino's harpsichord chord of Doctor Strange's theme.
Yeah, I always love that one.
Yeah, but his down now with the guitar.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, that's cool too.
Yeah, I know. They're like, they're like, Sam was like, hey, remember that like guitar sequence from Spider-Man 1 where he's like, the costume sequence, the or whatever. He's like, let's do that, but with Doctor Strange, which is great. It was so fun. Again, like such a interesting, fun composition that I was remembering. Like it's like people talk about like how the Marvel symphonic universe or whatever, the music doesn't stick with you, but this one did.
Yeah, and I think Doctor Strange's theme is one of the few ones that I will remember from this universe.
Yeah, it's from before, because that's what I love too. Every time they show Doctor Strange up to this point, it always been that kind of harpsichord sound that is like stuck with him, which I was a little sad to see go in this one. But I feel like this also just represents a new era of Strange. So I'm like excited to see where it's gonna go. Yeah.
But they still got the melody, which I liked.
Yeah. But now it's like been there's a guitar. I was like, it's just so cool. But just too much of it though. That's the
too much
big
wall to wall and stuff like that. Less some silence.
Yeah, just there's constant music happening.
So let's talk about two things. Wanda. Let's transition to Wanda Maximoff as a villain and America Chavez. So first with Wanda, did you like that she was a villain? Did you feel like that was a proper continuation of her arc from WandaVision? And do you feel like just the right choice for her to be a villain? Because I know like Scott Derrickson, right, wanted to have Nightmare and make it kind of a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
A little disconnected. So first just Wanda, and did you feel like, would you prefer Scott Derrickson's villain?
So this one is definitely the part where you can see that like, Marvel is playing their hand. They're just like, okay, yeah, this has to be all connected. It's a continuation of WandaVision or whatever. So Scarlet Witch is the villain in this one. I wasn't didn't expect it, but I'm glad.
Yeah,
honestly,
it makes her one of the most you know, it is. She is the best villain.
I don't know,
or like
that.
one of the best. Like,
I think
because she actually has at least the most backstory.
She by far has had the most complicated like storyline of like any of the villains in the MCU, which is really cool. And I feel like she has definitely she's past the point of redemption, because she killed so many people.
Yeah.
She's slaughtered way more people than Loki ever did. Like
they'll find a way to redeem her somehow.
I'm sure they will, but like it's just like I loved that they showed her. She went full villain, because in Age of Ultron she was kind of a villain, like she was, you know, a little bit of a villain but not like too much. And then in Civil War she was villainized, but like she wasn't really going that full, you know, dark side. If you're on Captain America's side, you're probably not that evil.
Yeah.
And then like
Infinity War and Endgame, she like was a hero.
Yeah, because of everything, her relationship with Vision, which is what kind of really grounded her and made her, you know, better. So that's cool. And then WandaVision being that major turning point where it's like, if you watched that show and you didn't think that she was basically a villain by the end of it, you're crazy. Like she
slaved the entire fucking town.
Yeah, she slaved an entire town, and they felt her emotions and her pain for like months on end, and she basically like tortured them for who knows how long, and it like made them play like dress up essentially so she could live out her fantasy life. And then after she does all that, she's like, all right, I'm going to leave now. I'm not even going to say sorry. Yeah. She didn't even say sorry. She could have done anything to just be like, you know what? I'm going to do everything I can to like make it up to these people. She was just like, my bad. And then just like peaced out. So I was like, I remember at the end of WandaVision, that was one of my big complaints. I was like, yeah, that's like, you know.
Where are the consequences for actions?
Yeah. Where is that coming from? You know? And then she's reading the Darkhold at the end of that one. And they talk about how Darkhold is bad. So they followed up with that. So I don't think like, because apparently there is some people who are not cool with Wanda being a villain or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's kind of dumb. I mean,
they were setting that up for a while.
Yeah, they've been setting it up. She's extremely tragic and she's complicated. She's been through a lot, probably more than any other Marvel character, really. So like, it makes sense to me. Like, it's fine. I get it. And especially with her being, you know, corrupted by the Darkhold. Was it pretty, like, you know, was it very quick? Like, was it like a super quick turnaround? Yeah. Would I have liked to seen a little bit, like, you know, of a slower transition? Yeah. But at the same time, in this film, with the pacing and how fast everything is moving, I didn't mind it too much.
Yeah.
Really. I was like surprised, but then like pleasantly surprised by the end, like that she did have that turn and we basically just jumped right into her being a villain. And I was like, okay, like I'm cool with it. I was enjoying it. I was like, all right, I'm on board with this. And then we just, you know, went on to the ride. So yeah.
I think, yeah, I completely agree. Cause like, for me, it's definitely up in contention of one of the best Marvel villains with like Thanos and stuff like that.
Loki, Killmonger.
Killmonger, not as much. I mean, I like Killmonger. It depends. I've heard rumors that he's coming back for Black Panther 2.
Okay.
Which is like, okay. Well, I mean,
it's not like he took a spear to the heart or anything.
It's the MCU. They brought back.
Yeah,
anybody.
It's comics.
Yeah,
everyone can die.
And also like Killmonger, I felt like I did like it more than other villains for a while. But then in retrospect, I'm like, he had such little screen time in that film.
Yeah. Again, everyone, I think a lot of people were like, he could have done so much more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Michael B. Jordan. You don't want to waste them. And apparently they don't. So
yeah, apparently he might not, which is going to be interesting. I will say this. So she's definitely up there. Might even be contention for my favorite, because at least just because of the sheer amount of homework they did on the character and the background, and make like definitely a very relatable, like it's like what they tried to do with Caecilius in the first film, where he's doing all this to see his dead wife and dead children again.
Yeah.
But we never seen his dead wife, never seen his dead children, we never seen his backstory, so we didn't have an emotional connection to him.
Yes.
But this one, we have seen Tommy and Billy, and we've seen Dead Vision, and we have seen like an entire TV series and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That is a much more emotionally rich motive for us to follow.
Yeah. So again, if you watch WandaVision, you really understand where she's coming from. You see all the pain and torture of like, you know, of her life and everything she's been from, like her parents, her brother, her husband, and her children all dying in front of her and her killing her husband twice, pretty much. Yeah. And it's like,
and also
oh,
like
God.
the existence of a white husband somewhere in the White Vision.
Yeah, White Vision is out there somewhere. Yeah, not that Paul Bettany isn't white enough. But
Yeah, and that's another thing. I don't like. Let's just. I'm jumping gun a little bit, but I don't think she's dead. You know what I mean?
Nah,
she's not dead. Because
dead.
also they have to resolve that White Vision storyline thing.
Yeah, and it's like, of course, like, if you don't see the body, she's not dead. Like,
and also,
sometimes even if you do see the body, they're still not dead.
And also, let's be honest, the Scarlet Witch just dying from a building crumbling on her.
Nah,
that'll be a weak sauce way.
Yeah, they've already established how insanely powerful she was. Like, what's her face? Captain Marvel was wailing on her and she was fine.
Yeah.
She walked away from it just fine. So I'm pretty sure she's going to be okay.
And if Jean Grey, which I guess is now technically part of whatever universe, if Jean Grey could survive whatever because she just subconsciously protected herself in the waterfall in X-Men 2.
She enclosed herself in a psychokinetic cocoon, preserving herself. It's like, okay.
Whatever. But she'll survive. So I did like her arc too. Like at the end, she just realized I think that was a great way to defeat that villain, right? They can't beat her physically, magically, mentally.
Yeah.
But they could beat her on an emotional sense, right? And see like the totality of her actions, right? Seeing how the kids see her as a monster now.
Yeah. I will say terrible child actors though.
Yeah. They brought the same actors from WandaVision.
So points for consistency, but maybe you should have done some recasting.
Yeah, I know. Or like maybe train the kids better, but maybe they had no time to train the kids.
I don't know.
They're just like, fucking hurry up. We don't even have an ending. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Who knows when they reshot this? I think Bruce Campbell was hilarious. He was talking like interviews afterwards. He's
like, I don't know I don't even know if Benedict Cumberbatch is gonna be in the film.
Yeah, there's so many reshoots and like, done whatever. They keep changing their mind. Who knows? But man, those kids were terrible.
Yeah, this is YMS will be. Oh my gosh, really bad child actors.
No, but for real though,
they were not good.
They were not good child actors. Yeah. I was like, man,
I didn't remember them being, maybe because I excused it because they were in that sitcom mode in WandaVision. But here they carried that sitcom mode in regular life.
And it's like that song where they're like, "We're gonna sing about ice cream." I was like,
oh my god!
I was like, this is bad.
This is just
like this is like a bad scene.
And you're talking about the flaws, but they just moved on to the evil death sequence.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is.
And luckily, they weren't that big of a film.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It wasn't like we kept coming back to the kids, and it's like, oh god, no. But like, no,
they were just a device.
They really were. They just kind of served their purpose, and that was it. But unfortunately, every time they were on screen, I was like, oh man, we gotta deal with these kids again.
And America Chavez, I'm a little conflicted on this character. I like the actress who played her. I think let me go to her name. We'll promise we'll get a printer and we don't have to switch between Google Docs for our audio only listeners, which is everybody. So I don't know if I'm saying this right. I'm really sorry. Xochitl Gomez or Xochit.
I have no idea how to say her name.
Gomez. X Gomez, whatever.
It's a very cool name. I'll say that.
I'll say that I think she, for what she had, did well. Yeah, she portrayed her emotions. She wasn't too annoying.
No,
and
she could have very easily just been like,
Yeah, and she was like she was 14 in the film.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Are you serious?
She looks really old for 14. But
yeah, I thought she was like, I don't know.
I think she's like 16 or something, 17 now.
I thought she was like somewhere between 17 and 19 years old. Did they start when she was 14 and they end when she was 32 or something? Because of all the reshoots?
They did film for a while. But yeah, she's like 14, 15 and like when they shot the film.
That's crazy.
And that's, as a child actor, she's technically a child actor. She was great.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the complete opposite of those kids. What the hell?
Yeah. So she was great in the film. I think it was a good introduction to her character. I'm more excited about what they'll do with their character going forward.
I mean, again, there's so much more potential now because now they have a character who can literally just open portals into the multiverse. That's insane. There's insane amount of potential there.
And she's going to Carmitage to learn Doctor Strange magic, which is okay. How to make an OP character more OP.
Yeah. Again, there was a little bit of that like where I was questioning it a bit, where I was like, why would she stay in this universe and not like go and find her parents. But then at the same time, like, well, I guess she could be studying, and then maybe
Imagine.
then she can, like,
go to a specific
eventually,
universe and
yeah,
stuff.
to help find her parents or whatever. I'm like, that's
And also,
fair.
because if she went to that universe by herself with like, she has nothing but punching portals.
Yeah.
Like, man, she'd probably get fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really know what universe she went into. She could have gone into a, universe where everything's made of like daisies or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
So,
And
but whatever.
and that's another thing. Okay, so that's like they introduce stuff that like they try to do a pseudo arc with her, where her whole thing is uncontrollable powers, but she controls it at the end because of some words of wisdom from Strange. That felt very artificial to me. Like, it wasn't earned.
Yeah.
And on top of that, like, I'm surprised that they didn't. Maybe I think this was cut. That Wanda didn't use her because every character, which I think good writing, has an Achilles heel. Her Achilles heel was her parents and what happened to her parents, right?
Yes.
That she didn't use her mind magic to get into the mind of America Chavez. Like, look, if you give me your powers, I'll be able to find your family and I'll be able to save them.
Didn't
And
she say something like that?
No, but like with like visually. Like
Yeah,
get
yeah.
into her mind and show her the images of her family and with me, blah blah blah, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But did she wait? But she did actually like say it though, right?
I don't she said it as explicitly though.
She said that to somebody. Oh, no, she said it to Strange. She
No,
was like,
yeah.
"Oh, you can be with."
Oh no, she did to Christine Palmer. Yeah,
you can be with Christine in some other universe, and he's like, "Oh,
But just dialogue
okay.
saying it, right? But you know how like fucking Raimi's really good with like dialogue overlap with visuals
yeah,
and flash. Like I was thinking I was expecting something like that with the mind magic, right?
yeah."
And that would have really driven the point home of like America Chavez has to choose between her own personal personal wants and desires, but before like what she needs to do, which is like kick Wanda's ass and
think-
save the universe.
Yeah, she could have very easily been like, "Look, like here, I can show you, or I can open a portal to find your parents." Like it's just super simple, and that would have been.
And I think that would have had a more emotional impact besides Doctor Strange being like, kick her ass. You always knew what to do. And I'm like,
Yeah, no, for real. That was like, it was pretty weak sauce. I think their relationship was fairly decent,
I also didn't buy the fact that like, okay, so somehow you trust this. Like when she was like, yeah, but this Strange is different. How? Like how? What did he do? Like you saw a little bit of his like date with fucking Christine Palmer. That's it. You're not like, oh, he's different. But you already knew that Defender fucking Strange also had a complicated history with Christine Palmer.
Yeah.
Like really? Oh wow! Because of that, like you visualize that shit. You're like, oh, he's different. Like really?
Yeah, that's fair. It's like, yeah, that's one of the bumpy parts. For sure. Because I was like,
they sped through character development or attachment between stuff like that.
Well, Stevens as well.
Oh,
for
Stevens'
the most
arc
part. Yeah, like there was parts of it that I did like, where it's like basically the whole thing is, he has to learn to like let his ego go. Right.
Which is also just kind of like his arc from the first film.
Yeah. It's very, very similar to that one.
But in a weird way, the first film, even though I like this one better on a personal level, that arc was more fully realized in the first one with like, Sorcerer Supreme telling him like, it's not all about you. Right. Yeah. And then him like, using the time stone to like willing to sacrifice himself to be trapped at Dormammu to save the world. Like that was a much more emotionally poignant way to end that arc. But in this one, like, I think I was telling you about this off screen where there's a whole thing with like I thought they were setting something up of like he got rid of his personal need ego, but he started adopting this more Machiavellian type of mindset, right? The end justifies the means, like giving the time stone to Thanos because Tony Stark will sacrifice himself. Yeah. And blah blah blah. And then also they set it up with Michael Stuhlbarg's character. The doctor were like, I couldn't see my fucking brother. My cats died. Yeah. I laughed sadly, but I was like, but now when we said the brother thing, I was like, oh, okay, never mind. Actually, really, he's fucked up.
Yeah.
And so like that decision that he made, and also the whole thing with Spider-Man,
where he's like, let the villains die.
Yeah.
This is like just their fate. Like, sorry. Like, that's just how it has to be.
Like his whole cold, callous nature. And also the same thing with Defender Strange, where Defender Strange was like absorbing America Chavez's character, right?
He's like, in the grand calculus of the multiverse, like your sacrifice is worth it. Which, I mean, to be fair, he kind of does do that at the end where he's basically like, America is like, it's fine. Like, you can absorb my power and essentially kill me. But
it
like,
rang hollow because this version of Doctor Strange didn't do that earlier. It was another version of Doctor
but I think they
Strange.
established even then that like they really are very similar. All these Doctor Stranges,
Yeah.
because even like the Sinister Strange used the Darkhold, which this one still did anyways.
Yeah.
You know, so like they all kind of were willing to do. They all have that like big Machiavellian sense. So I think they kind of did show that like these guys all will make that choice. It's like, you know,
Except this one didn't.
Except this one eventually chose not to. He decided to like, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I could, and she even was like willing to do it. Like she was willingly able to do it, but he was like, no,
There's a better way.
Yeah, there's a better way to do this. You can do this and whatever. And then she did it, and you know.
But I still felt
It's great.
that rang emotionally hollow because we didn't visually see this version, even if they were the same. But like at one point, like
doing something similar.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you could argue he kind of did before. Like, you know, he's done similar things,
but with
like
America
that.
Chavez.
Yeah,
Like,
well, yeah,
like I felt like there should have been some writing point where like they were backed into a corner, and he was like at one point like his hands was out or something, like his hands was out. He was like considering to take her power, and then America Chavez. I mean, it's a Pixar thing, or not even just Pixar. A lot of movies where like character A and B conflict happened, they separate.
yeah,
But then at the end they reconcile, whatever. But I actually felt like this one might have benefited from that.
yeah.
Like he was tempted to take away America Chavez's power.
Yeah.
And that would have like broken their relationship, and he had to work towards reconciling that at the end.
Yeah.
But they didn't, because she's like, he's different. He's different.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. I think that would have been probably, yeah, just it would have been much more satisfying to see that, and just more like, you know, have actually been, you know, made more sense on a narrative and everything.
Level.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But they didn't do that.
They didn't do that. I'm bitching because, you know, because the thing is, I want this film to be like a 10 out of 10 amazing masterpiece and stuff.
I feel like in terms of like, you know, Marvel or whoever, as they were writing this, and I'm sure like all the reshoots and whatever, they were probably like, well, we already saw him essentially, that he was pretty much essentially willing to do it. Yeah, with Defender Strange. So this guy, he's going to do it differently or whatever. And it's like, that's true. But, you know,
and
really
they also didn't have an ending while shooting it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they were like, so let's get into that. Like,
yeah.
So Sam Raimi very publicly was like, and Michael Waldron too was like, we shot before we finished the script. Yeah, we were writing as we were going.
That's always good.
Yeah, so they were making up his arc as they were probably. That's what I'm thinking. There wasn't enough prep or plan.
Yeah.
So they were just like, oh wait, okay. So like, yeah, as you were saying.
Again, yeah, it's. I think it's really, again, that's why. I mean, we're going to talk about the sequel and everything, but I really, really hope that Sam Raimi stays on for this.
Yes,
people are
please.
talking about them making a Spider-Man 4.
I'd rather see Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I'd rather see a new Doctor Strange. I'd rather see him step into a new thing. I absolutely love this original Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. Those are like my favorite comic book movies, like one of my favorite comic books ever, but like whatever. I would love to see him have full control from start to finish, have actual, you know, pre-production and prep time and writing it and whatever, everything leading up to a movie, and have him actually think it out, because I think he is more than capable of doing that. And I would love to see him do that, because, you know, even Spider-Man 3 has like a pretty satisfying ending in the terms of like, you know, the arc that is like, you know, throughout the film, like, you know,
like forgiveness.
Yeah, exactly. It's the whole thing. It's like, I mean, it was obviously, you can tell what Sam Raimi was writing or dealing with when he's like, yeah, I want it to be Sandman, and him forgiving Sandman, everything. And then they're like, oh, wait, but you also need to put like fucking Venom.
Did you see his recent comments about that?
The hell? No.
Yeah, he was just like, because they're like, Avi Arad was like, because he wasn't the biggest, like he said, I didn't understand Venom at that point because I didn't see like an amazing Venom comics. He said since then he has understood that character more.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I bet he's had that time.
Yeah. But he said that like Avi Arad, who I fucking hate, by the way.
He's a terrible producer. Sorry.
Yeah, he is. He's just like, he told like apparently Avi Arad was basically like complained to Sam's like, look, you included all the villains that nobody cares about, like Green. I'm like, what the fuck? Really? Okay, Green Goblin, and Dr. Octopus, like the things that you were a fan of, right?
Yeah.
You want to include Sandman, a guy who could float in sand. Think about the fans, Sam. They want Venom. We should give them Venom. Be less selfish, Sam.
The thing is, he's not totally wrong, okay?
Yeah.
In the sense that, like, I remember even when the first one came out, it was like Dr. Octopus is gonna be the villain. I was like, Dr. Octopus, he's lame, man. I was like, you want Dr. Octopus?
And the Sandman, cool.
Yeah, and then they're like, yeah, and then exactly, then Spider-Man 2 comes out, and it's one of the greatest superhero films ever made. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, that was amazing. And the third one, they were like, they wanted Sandman. And I was like, Sandman? I was like, what the hell, man?
He was the best villain in the film.
He was actually really good. And then he also wanted Vulture and like, you know, other people. And I was like, Vulture sucks. But like, I mean, they made him cool. And I was like, God damn it. So like
sometimes they're creatives for a reason. They pay millions of dollars to these people for a reason.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like when he's giving you 2 back-to-back blockbuster, like out of the park, you know, fantastic home runs, like trust the guy.
Yeah.
You know, if he says he doesn't want to do a Venom story, then don't force feed him that shit. I mean, obviously, you know, hindsight's 2020. So whatever.
And also maybe just like give him time to love that character. Maybe like he could find a better approach to that character.
Yeah, you know what you should have done?
Give him comic books.
Exactly. You should have been like, here, read some of this shit, you know, get inspired and then make a Venom story when you're ready, you know. Instead, he killed that franchise.
Yeah. So I am thinking like, I hope in this case, Kevin Feige learning everything is going to be like, okay, you and Michael Waldron from the ground up, you guys will have time to write a script. Doctor Strange 3, let's get into it. Okay, well, I mean, there's multiverse questions, but we're running over long, and you know, we'll just skip by that. I think they did a relative good job, though I thought some of the visual stuff in What If was done a little better, but I did like this better than What If. Yeah, and I know you did.
I think I did like this more than What If, but like I think yes, visually awesome, really cool seeing like, you know, that sequence where like they're falling through the different dimensions and everything or different universes was really cool. It was like all visually just awesome and everything. They even showed like a dinosaur part, which my, you know, prediction is that's like an insight into like the Savage Lands or something. I feel like one day they're like, you know, rather than maybe having the literal Savage Lands in Antarctica, maybe they'll have it just be like an alternate universe that they have to journey into sometimes. And hey, now we have America, so we can, you know, maybe do that. Anyway, but yes, like that's just I think they did a pretty good job with the multiverse, like in all the alternate Stranges, which were each one were very cool, fun, and unique, and yeah, and you got to see a bunch different of the Doctor Strange costumes.
Yeah, I agree,
which is cool.
I think what's it called? So
Doctor Strange 3.
Yeah, and then the whole. Okay, so let's get into the the post credit scenes and speculation. So there was the first one, Clea. And I'm kind of thinking,
who?
I know who. What's it called? Clea, played by Charlize Theron, who in the comics she is the niece of Dormammu, and she's also the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Universe. Why are you laughing? That's not the actual. That's the actual. Why are you laughing?
Why are you laughing? Dormammu has a niece. Like I don't know. That's just like.
Oh yeah,
he's this like multi.
Well, I mean, he has a corporeal form.
I know, I know, but it's the fact that like at least how they portrayed him. I know Dormammu in the comics, he's like kind of has like, you know, he's like a man body dude. He looks almost like Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
With like a cloak.
But I think Dormammu has some type of like his son or brothers is a more corporeal entity, and then like had a kid, like basically that one was like they're not as evil as Dormammu or something. It's very complicated and convoluted.
Yeah,
but she is.
Oh, you mean comic books?
Yeah, she is related to Dormammu, right? In some ways, like a mystical sense.
I'm sure. Yes, that's fine. Fuck, whatever.
Okay, and but she's the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Universe, which is Dormammu's universe. And she's on par with Doctor Strange, but with like a lot more dark, twisted powers.
Sweet.
Yeah, and also she's the eventual wife of Doctor Strange, like his actual true love.
Ooh la la, which is sort of strange.
Yeah, and so that was originally supposed to be. She was supposed to be like the central character in Scott Derrickson's version, and she would have been like her and Strange would have been going through the Multiverse of Madness together because of Strange's actions throughout the previous films and the consequences that he caused, and you can see with like, and on top of that, and Christine Palmer would have just kind of been like in the like whatever, just like moved on, because they kind of did that in Doctor Strange 1. He's like, okay, I'm moving on from you, right?
I will say that's cool. I like that. I kind of wish they didn't cast Charlize Theron. To be fair, obviously they had
too
like
famous, and
yeah, it's kind of distracting because I'm like, I just see Charlize Theron.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, But even like in Mad Max, she shaved her head. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like she was great in that. I mean, she's great. Obviously,
I mean,
Charlize
she
Theron,
she
but
played Alien Warheist and Monster, so she probably could make it her own.
I'm sure she can. It's just like I kind of miss Marvel. Like I like when Marvel just casts more unknowns
Yeah.
for characters rather than just kind of like big names. Like I think with Miss Chavez, I forget her.
Yeah,
What was her first name?
X Gomez.
Yeah.
Or America Chavez.
Yeah, the girl who plays America Chavez. How did I forget her name? America. Like
you don't believe in our country, man? What's wrong with you?
I think she was a great cast because she's just like I'd never heard of her,
Yeah.
and she was cool. She's like a fresh face, and that was great. And but yeah, this Charlize Theron, I'm sure she'll be great. It's fine. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Seeing that how she's saying you're causing incursion, which I didn't realize that it's a setup for Secret Wars.
what?
Yeah, I didn't even know that. And also that Defender, the Defender Strange, that costume is one of the costumes he wore when during the Secret Wars comic run, or one of the comic runs.
What is that?
Yeah, you remember the Defender, whatever the costume that he had?
No, I know. I'm saying, but what's the Secret Wars?
Like I forgot, like, because I was just watching like Variant Comics and what's his name, Emergency Awesome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then he was just breaking down and stuff like that of like how these are Easter eggs or how they're setting up, and an incursion is one of the inciting incidents for some of the Secret Wars.
Oh, Secret Wars. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
Secret.
I thought you said
no.
Secret Wars.
No, Secret.
I was like, yes, the Secret Wars.
Oh,
Okay, yes,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
incursion. That's when all the different universes start colliding and they basically start canceling each other out.
Yeah.
And everything. And yes, okay. Honestly, that bums me out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I hope this is a long build up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want Kang. I want Kang to be. If this is like a 3-phase arc to Secret Wars, then okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be, please.
That's fine. Yeah, because Secret Wars is, again, that's like an Infinity War level thing of like, oh my God, like, we need every big character, every character in the Marvel universe and everything. And that's, again, yeah, that's more further down the line. That's, Endgame kind of thing.
I want Kang to be like this phase's focus.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And also, I don't know, for Doctor Strange 3, I want it to be basically kind of like what Scott Derrickson wanted to do, where he wants
Nightmare,
an actual, a very Doctor Strange specific villain, some weird, creepy, out there villain that like he has to focus on, and it's more just focus on him and not, the rest of the MCU or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just shrink it back down to just something that he's dealing with. Like, even like, we're saying like No Way Home, where technically that was like, even though that was like the multiverse and everything, it still felt very personal to Spider-Man. There was 3 Spider-Men fighting a bunch of Spider-Man villains, and he's dealing with his personal life and how it's like going to be eradicated or whatever. With like this one, with the next Doctor Strange film, I want it to be more focused on, not as, doesn't have to be on such a grand scale,
They probably are.
Probably. It seems like it.
Because they're just like, wow. Because by the way, box office just got reported this morning that this is one of the biggest openings for any. This actually might be the biggest opening for any solo Marvel film. And because the first Doctor Strange had like 85 million opening, this one had 190.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, even more than No Way Home.
No, No Way Home is 200 something plus.
Yeah, but
that's like Sony. So.
That's just
that doesn't count. They don't get as much from that thing. But for like the Marvel thing, it's like one of the highest apparently.
Crazy.
Yeah, and I think Captain America Civil War doesn't count because it's like Avengers 2.5.
Yeah, that doesn't really count. Yeah.
So it's just like they're probably like, wow, this worked for this film, so we got to include like Wolverine for the next one or something. Which is, I mean, to be fair, is it their fault or is it our fault?
No, the thing is, again, I'm not against them like including other Marvel characters in there.
Sense.
Yeah, it just have it just be smaller stakes, man. Have it be more personal to Strange. Have it like or just have an actual Strange villain, because let's be honest, Caecilius sucked in the first one.
Yeah,
Dormammu,
wasted. Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah,
wasted.
So unfortunate. But and then Dormammu was kind of there. It's kind of an interesting setup, but that wasn't like
paid off,
full-fledged, Dormammu or anything. And then this one was Scarlet Witch, which I think was good. Yeah. Honestly, I had a great time with Scarlet Witch, but I'd rather see get into Strange's villains. They're weird and creepy and cool. I mean, they kind of already used was it Shima Gorath? Yeah. Kinda. Was that really supposed to be Shima Gorath? I don't know, because he's kind of a bigger deal, but whatever.
They just stabbed, which was cool the way they the demon dog hand stabbed the eye.
Yeah, yeah.
So wait, so what? Okay, so because you know they're gonna do it. With all the recent trends, like even Thor 4 has the Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah.
Which character do you think they're gonna put in Doctor Strange 3? Like of the established characters, and which one would make the most sense, and which one would you be okay with? That seems to be the trend to try to bring market value to each, like, Marvel film.
And the thing is, I was like, what I said before was that when after the first Doctor Strange, I was like, I would love to see Wanda and Scarlet Witch join Doctor Strange, and that's exactly what they did. Not in the way that I was expecting, but they did it, so that's cool. But now that Wanda's already done, it's hard to say like who could,
like will fit with the narrative too, right?
Yeah,
and who'll be involved? Maybe Simu Liu, like Shang-Chi, because like he has a connection with Wong.
Yeah.
If they have more Wong has a bigger role in the other film.
Oh, actually, that does make a lot of sense to me. So here's like my thing is like, I'm totally cool with Strange no longer being the Sorcerer Supreme because it's Wong, because I think just Wong just
it's
makes
also more
sense.
stable too, and I want Wong to get a massive upgrade into his abilities too.
Yeah,
I want him to
he's
go
pretty strong,
but even like I want him to not be on par, but just like expand more on his fucking abilities with the weapons and shit or whatever.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. That'd be fun. And I think I'm also think that Wong has like, he has an expiration date that
he'll die.
Yeah, I think he might die.
Yeah.
Dude,
oh my God.
I think he might die in the third one, because think about it, like, how Strange has to, eventually he's going to be the Sorcerer Supreme. How he can't just do it. Wong isn't just going to be like, all right, here's my.
Can you imagine they just troll fans? they were trolling that. They were like kind of handcocking into like, oh yeah, he might die in this one, but he didn't.
Yeah. I think that there's a chance he could die, because this is like, it would be super tragic. It'd be something, again, personal for Strange. Like he's pretty much his best friend. That would be really sad. And I don't know. And all like the worst versions of Strange, it seems like he didn't have Wong around. So that'd be interesting to see what would happen to him after Wong passes. And so I think like Shang-Chi would be like a really interesting mix. Yeah.
Ooh, what about Reed Richards? Because I mean, like, if they establish the whole thing with like his being as smart and him understand like the Council of Reeds. Yeah. That's the only other one. But I prefer Shang-Chi, but I'm trying to think of like the other possible people that they would add.
I want to stick with like magical characters, which I guess we don't know for sure if Shang-Chi is technically magic or not. I think he's probably like,
but he does have some magic element with the Talo.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So like that's true.
And he has a connection with Wong already. So that would be an easy way to get him in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I think Shang-Chi would be an interesting choice.
What about if who knows? Maybe they include because I heard rumors that Iron Fist will be in Shang-Chi too. Mm-hmm. Maybe that Iron Fist character. I don't know. There's a lot. But I do hope it's natural and organic.
Yeah.
And the last thing, it's the Bruce Campbell. It's over. I'll just say I love that. I just love that post-credit scene. Oh, do you want to guess talk about the third eye real quick before we wrap it up?
Yeah. Okay, so in the Doctor Strange comics, the one that I got, which is the Last Days of Magic comic book run, there's like a really cool sequence where they show Doctor Strange, and he's basically just kind of like doctoring his way around, where he's like, exercising like, parasitic, like, like interdimensional beings or whatever. So like there's a part where they show him he's walking around New York City and he's opened up his third eye, and you see what he sees in this dimension, which is basically interdimensional bacteria that are just like, kind of parasites that just live off of human, like, psychokinetic energy or whatever. And it's just really cool. So I always thought, like, I always wanted to see that version of Strange as well, just basically going around and just kind of like, seeing stuff that like that we just don't see, like where he sees like, different kind of like funguses that are growing on or around people, different like, weird entities that are just feasting off people. And then Strange kind of like, there's a part where there's like this big parasite thing, like this giant worm that's like sucking the life force out of this old man.
That would be fucking cool.
Yeah. And then he just like, hey, and he like tries to get it to go away, and he ends up like having to fight and kill it. And it's just like cool. It's so I'm so glad that he got and kept his third eye, because that's very strange, and it's kind of perfect. Yeah. So yeah. And yeah, there's plenty of other characters. Like even in this this comic book, they also show that like Doctor Strange goes to this one bar that's like, you can't, it's like It's the bar with no doors. It's a magician's only lounge hidden deep within the bowels of New York City. That's straight out of the book. And inside there's like Dr. Voodoo, Shaman, and Scarlet Witch that just like hang out there and just like, Strange just like, drinks with them and shit. And it's just like, I don't know, that's just fun. Like, so I want them to like, expand the world of magic, with other characters that don't necessarily have to be, from Carmontage and whatever, or now not just Scarlet Witch, but like, other characters too. Get it. Give it to me.
Yeah. I would like that. Yeah. That was dope. I hope it'd be very wasted if they didn't do that or something along those lines. Like, it'd be a waste of a third eye.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like, that's why I like that he kept the third eye. I was like, yes, like, I'm so excited to see that. But that's why I want it to just be chill, because like this is like, this opens with Doctor Strange just like on a random Tuesday as he's walking around just doing his magic business, and it's not like this giant. I mean, eventually it becomes, it's called the death of the last days of magic, so obviously it's a big thing eventually. But like, I wanted to build to that, but whatever.
I am not the biggest fan of the post-credit scene because, one, they try to make that whole like, remember how Christine Palmer's like, face your fears, you don't have to be afraid.
Yeah.
And at the end, she's like, are you afraid to join with me? And then Doctor Strange's like, never. And then like he opens his eyes and goes in. Yeah. Like whatever half-baked shit that they're trying to do with that. I'm sorry, Michael. It's not your fault. You really were trying your best. Yeah. As I say Michael, as he's my best friend. Like Michael, no. But I didn't like the fact that post-credit scene exists because like it kind of hamstrings the next adventures of Doctor Strange to be something with the dark universe instead of something like that in the comics where it's just everyday thing where he could just see things.
I agree. Where it's like, I was like happy with him just, and he opens up his third eye. And if it ended there, I was like, yes, that's great. Cause then that leaves again, so many different things. Yeah, that could happen. Now it's like, oh, it's got to do this. But to be fair, it doesn't have to be something with a dark dimension. That, I mean, look what they did with Baron Mordo. At the end of the first one, they're like, Baron Mordo is going out and he's killing, wizards and warlocks and whatever. And it's like, oh no, what are they going to do? And apparently nothing.
Well, I mean, the difference is that you had Strange directly participating in the post-credit scene.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like they could even cut back to it. And
like maybe it's like some time passed in between.
Yeah.
I hope they do.
Yeah, they could do something like that. It would be, again, it would feel kind of like a waste to be like there was an incursion and like you didn't even like spend much time on it or something. But also, I don't know, I'd be willing to sacrifice something like that in order to get something, just smaller. Or like again, like Sam Raimi, what he did with Spider-Man 2. Yeah, where they already laid the groundwork for everything, and then they could kind of really fully expand on like the potential of Spider-Man, something like that.
People, it's okay to have smaller stakes. Watch it. Yeah, watch it. Yeah, watch it. Okay, and then I guess we were talking about speculations. Any final thoughts before we give our ratings?
No. We've been talking for
a while.
Hour,
so yeah, there's a lot. I was surprised. I thought it was gonna be a 30-minute episode.
I know that's a lot more than I was expecting.
Yeah, that would be fun to edit. Oh yeah, Moon Knight. I don't have as much. Spoiler for our Moon Knight episode. I'll try to keep it short. Yeah. Final rating. You know what? Not quite on the shelf for me, but premium streaming. I enjoyed it.
I'm gonna say on the shelf because I want to own it.
Yeah, I do want to own it, but it's like, fuck, should I? No, never mind. I'm gonna commit to it.
No, whatever. Stick to it, man. I'm staying. Yeah, I want to own it. I had a great time, so I'm definitely gonna put it on the shelf. Is it too high? I don't know. Probably.
It's our own personal bias.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you guys so much for another episode of Have a Clue Movie Review. It's one of our longer episodes. And this week we'll have a lot more TV episodes. We're going to try to ramp up our production. We're doing better. I don't know, and we'll see, you guys.
Hey, have you been watching Winning Time? Because you should.
Yeah. Hinting at something?
Halo.
Okay. That's not a winning time. Thank you guys for another episode of Have a Clue Movie Review. We hate Quan from Halo. Thank you guys so much.
Bye.